Hi there, wonderful, magical, sexy people. This is Mihai from Romania, and today we are discussing the final third part of Alexander F's question regarding the digital manuscripts. So, what libraries can we access to find some goodies and occult knowledge? Well, it's very difficult to make a list of all the libraries where you can find manuscripts. So this will be just a top 10, a personal preference, in which we will go library by library and look for one specific manuscript and then see what it contains, but very, very shortly because we don't have a lot of time, seeing that we have 10 libraries to go through. And then next time we will see how to decode a Latin manuscript because it's not as easy as one might think. So this is just a list of 10 libraries where you can go and access stuff. You will find more links on my Patreon. More on that later. These would be the 10 libraries I've selected. Now, I can't do more libraries because the video might be extremely long, but what I would like is for you to tell me what kinds of libraries do you go through. If you go through digital libraries and find manuscripts and maybe post a link or maybe post a detail or maybe post a manuscript that you love from an available library so far. Number 10 on our list would be the Bavarian State Library, or the Bayerische Staatsbibliothek in München, which is home to the famed Munich Manual of Magic, which was published and edited by Richard Kiekhaefer. If we look for CLM 849, BSB CLM 849, we will going to find the Liber Incantationum Exorcismorum et Fascinationum Variarum. And this is not the best scan. It's a microfilm scan. It's not the actual book scan because the book is maybe too fragile, maybe tucked away in some drawer, but the quality is pretty good and you can read it and you can make some exercises on it regarding paleography. And here it is. You just access the library. The link to the libraries are always below in the description, and you can find them by searching out the shelf mark or maybe the title that is indicated here, and you can see the manuscript in all its glory. Number 9. The Dresden Saxon State and University Library is home to more than one fascinating manuscripts, and you can access them by accessing the link in the description and by looking for the shelf marks or the keywords in German. So if we look for manuscript Dresden N103, we will find this Magische und technische Rezepte, which is magical and technical recipes, which is pretty broad. And that's exactly what the manuscript is. It's a mix of spells and rituals and seals and secret alphabets, and I'm sure you're gonna get a kick out of reading it. The hand is very easy to read for some people. It's humanistic Italian hand, and perhaps it was written in Italy or in Germany, but it's pretty fascinating, and of course have fun hunting for more manuscripts in this wonderful library in Dresden. Number 8 on our list is the Princeton University Library, which houses a sweet collection of magical Arabic manuscripts, which is quite fascinating. And we're going to take a look at this book, which is called Al-Shamil fi al-Bahar al-Kamil fi al-Dawar. And I have no idea if it's the famous Al-Shamil that is in process of being translated, but it is nonetheless fascinating, and it has such great penmanship and interesting diagrams and talisman, which I have no idea what they mean, but hopefully in the future my Arabic will be better and maybe the work itself will be translated. Number 7 is the famous Wellcome Collection, and we're gonna access here manuscript Wellcome 4639, and we'll see that it's penned in the 19th century by Robert Cross Smith, also known as Raphael. Now, we all wish someone would have taken a look at this wonderful manuscript and taken all the images and studied them and translated the writing, and I don't know, I guess we'll never know what it is about. Number 6 on our list is the University of Pennsylvania Library, the UPenn, and if we have a look at the 1196 manuscript, we're going to see this awesome Vaticina Varia, and it's full of alchemy and mantic sciences and Kabbalah, and the quality of the penmanship might not be the best, but the various sources and the quality of the images we have makes this a very important manuscript for study. And I have extracted a number of figures from it, but nobody has given it a critical thought, and nobody has published it in its entirety. Number 5 is, of course, the British Library, which houses quite a lot of magical manuscripts, and maybe not all of them are available online, and maybe not all of them have been scanned, and some have been scanned from microfilm, others have been scanned from the manuscript itself, but it is nonetheless a quite important repository of occult knowledge. If we look for Oriental manuscript 10767, we will find a magical miscellany, which is all sorts of magical things. Now, this badly drawn version is one of the versions of the Sefer Maftech Shlomo, which is the Hebrew version of the Key of Solomon, and hopefully my friend Gal Sofer has taken it into account in his edition, and he will bring such yummy knowledge to us once his book is done. Number 4 is the famous Leipzig University Library, and now maybe someone took the time to look at every manuscript and put out a link and order it in order of its sequence, and maybe written down its title, and maybe put out a link for Magical Codex number 3. We will find this very interesting manuscript, which has its title in 2 languages, Alberti Magni Necromantia oder Schwarzen Kunstbücher zweiter Teil, which is the necromancy of Albert the Great. You can see here we have a lot of strange symbols and strange codes and magical characters and evil looking things, and of course even more evil looking German, which of course I'm in the process of working on with a translator which wants to be anonymous, and hopefully we will bring more of the Leipzig manuscripts to publication. Number 3 is the French National Library, the BNF, the Bibliothèque Nationale Française, which has a very interesting manuscript, which is Italian manuscript 1524. Now, the thing is, this has been published, transliterated and translated in the volume Vedrai Mirabilia, un libro di magia del Quattrocento, which means You Shall See Miracles, a book of magic from the 1400s by Boudet, Gall, and Moulinier Progy. I hope I said that right. If we access the manuscript on the Bibliothèque Nationale Française, we will see the title of the work is actually Compilazioni di vari trattati latini d'astrologia, necromanzia, magia, e medicina. So a compilation of various treatises, various Latin treatises of astrology, necromancy, magic, and medicine. And of course, if you don't know the specific call number of the manuscript, the shelf mark, you would have to look specifically for compilazioni or trattati latini, astrologia, necromanzia, magia, e medicina. So it's a very special Italian version of the word necromancy or nigromancy, necromanzia with a Z. And if you look for nigromancy and necromancy or something like this, you will get nothing and you won't get this manuscript. But luckily, I have here the link to the website and the call number, and you can access it. You can see it's full of magical characters and talisman, and actually this is the oldest known version of the Clavicula Solomonis manuscript in Italian, and I think it's the oldest manuscript of the Clavicula Solomonis out there. So it's extremely important. It's a very, very important tool for academics. That's why they took the time to translate the whole thing. And I would like to advise you to please buy the book, because it's a great study tool. Now, number 2 on our list is the Vatican Library, and we're not going to say much about the Vatican Library because we already dedicated a video, an entire video on it, and magical manuscripts found there. But I would like to show you a manuscript which is very dear to my heart, the MS Reg Lat 1115. And if we access this shelf mark, we will see the manuscript that started the whole madness of the Elucidarius Magistri Petri d'Albano. So it's a manuscript dated to 1569, and it's one of the manuscripts of the Elucidarius of Petrus Albano, which was translated and published by Joseph Peterson. And this was the manuscript that started it all, I think, because I brought it to the attention of some scholars and some people on Facebook groups about the Elucidarium, and people went on from there and found other manuscripts and found more details, and I'm just so happy to be a part of the whole story, and this is the manuscript that actually started it all. It's pretty dense and pretty hard to read, but it's nonetheless fascinating. And finally, the number 1 on our list would be the Ritman Library, partially digitized with some help from Dan Brown at the Embassy of the Free Mind website. If we look for manuscript M243, we will see this extraordinary manuscript, which is called Magia Vera Sacra Sacratissima Seu Sapientia Divina et Secretum Secretorum, which means the true sacred, most sacred magic, or the divine wisdom and the secret of secrets. It is absolutely stunning, with magical seals and magical codes, and written in Latin and German. It's such a beautiful handwriting. We can see some pentacles which were taken from other occult manuscripts, and they were also processed and they were worked upon. And of course, I believe it's a Rosicrucian system of practical magic which was applied by a secret Rosicrucian order, and it was added upon. You can see some very interesting changes, and at the end of the book, I mean, the most amazing huge talisman or pentacle or whatever you want to call it. I have processed a part of this manuscript, but not all, and hopefully somebody will take the opportunity and do the whole manuscript. I would like to work on it, of course, especially on the graphics, and bring it to publication because it truly deserves it. So in conclusion, I would like to extend my special thank yous to Pratik Katyal, who allowed me to use his wonderful image for a background, and to my Patreon subscribers, namely Elizabeth, Adley Nichols, Justin Sledge, Alexander Cummings, M. Alcock, Bell Wood, Annalise Antoinette, Netop Avis, David Mackey, Zachary Murray, Stian Kulistin, and Arias, whom I wholeheartedly thank for their support, and special thank yous for the patrons that recently switched to the Metatron tier. I finally gotten around to put tiers on my Patreon. They will get free access to my latest grimoire translation, a short French grimoire from the 18th century, which is an obscure variant of the grimoire of Pope Honorius, and I will do a video about this as well. If you wish to be a part of my Patreon, you will get this work automatically. If you, however, do not like that kind of commitment, you can buy it from my newly created ebook section on my blog. Folks, thank you for your attention, and we will be back next time on Wednesday, on the day and hour of Mercury. And until then, maybe you can find some questions or details you might like to feature in this series. And of course, if you have any additional suggestions to my library list, of course, I have a lot more libraries and a lot more manuscripts throughout, which I have studied and evidenced on my blog. but you are more than welcome to comment or leave a link to your special library or special manuscript that you love, and maybe we can talk about it. Until next time, have a great day and have fun.